everybody. Welcome to our new podcast. Would you stay tuned? This is Marvin. I'm here with our usual hosts, Sarah, Dan, and Ricardo. Hey, everybody. What are you guys doing?
Hey.
Doing?
I don't know, dude. I don't know how I feel about myself.
And
This was a bad idea, Marvin.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Are we going to break bad because we don't know what we're doing?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how
Hello,
I feel.
everyone.
Hello.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, the point of Would You Stay Tuned is that, hey, we talk about shows and movies and stuff all the time. We were thinking, hey, what if one of us who really likes a show tries to show it to someone else by having them watch the pilot of that show? And then they watch the episode, and then we see, would you stay tuned? Haha, hence the name of the podcast. Because, if they really like the pilot, maybe they want to keep watching, And this week we're watching Breaking Bad, which is probably my favorite show of all time. Maybe. That's probably going to fluctuate over time, but I really like Breaking Bad. And out of everyone here,
Solid.
Ricardo's the only one who hasn't seen it, I think, correct?
That's correct. I did it on purpose.
And you did it on purpose, just to spite everyone.
I have seen all of Breaking Bad.
Yes. So Sarah's seen all of Breaking Bad. I have seen all of Breaking Bad. And I believe Dan has also seen all of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I've seen all of Breaking Bad, though I did not continue all the way through Better Call Saul.
Yes. So Sarah and I have also seen all of Better Call Saul, but that's neither here or there because today, all we're talking about is the pilot. And I think it's a pretty solid pilot. I don't know. It's one of the things that hooked me into the show was that the pilot in and of itself is kind of like a great short film. And it's great on its own, I think.
It's action-packed, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you introduced the show to me by simply showing me the pilot.
Right, that's true. I think it was in San Diego, right? In Mission Beach, when we were at someone's house or something. And I was like...
maybe? I forget. But yeah, like you use explicitly, just say, hey, watch this pilot.
It's very good.
And, we did a little would you stay tuned right then and there.
It's true.
Ooh.
This is an old concept. But yeah, I guess we'll save impressions for a bit later. But I guess I can start off by just going through the plot of the pilot, right? It's actually pretty simple. So basically, Walter White, down on his luck, maybe like lower middle class high school chemistry teacher who is secretly a genius.
Yeah.
And
is he?
Wait. Don't spoil anything, dude. Because I don't know if he's a genius.
No, but in the episode, you even see on the wall, it says
he looks at an
contribution to Nobel Prize for chemistry.
Yeah, but you said secretly a genius. I think it's pretty.
Yeah.
I think maybe like a low
key.
He's like a low key genius.
Smart.
Like he's definitely like super smart at it, but he clearly hasn't reaped the rewards of it with his life.
He's not being utilized correctly.
Yeah, because he's
overqualified for where he is.
He's hyper overqualified to be a high school chemistry teacher, and it's kind of odd. And he has, kind of like a very like mundane home life. Like, it's his 50th birthday. Starts off with that.
Oh, wait, I have a question. So what time frame is this supposed to be? Is this like early 2000s, 90s? What are we?
I think it's early 2000s because everyone still uses flip phones.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So it must be early 2000s. I'm trying to think if there's any kind of reference to like what's going on.
I'm sure the show has like a specific like way of making sure everything is period accurate, but I don't know if we explicitly know. Like we don't see like a calendar that says 2004 or something.
I'm guessing it must be early 2000s.
Yeah,
like
they
the
still
flip
have
phone thing. I say would be the biggest tell for now.
Yeah, and there's like other minor tells, like they still have like a desk side like alarm clock. Which is
like
pretty retro.
When was this film? Because I guess it was current day for the time that it released, right?
Yeah, I think they tried to keep it current day for when it released, and it sort of just stayed in that time period. It first was made in 2008, or that's when it released.
Okay,
so
yeah, that makes sense. So then, like early 2000s.
Yeah. Oh, also, he is. I think it's pretty explicit in the episode. This is all taking
very
place.
Explicit. You see titties.
Yes, actually, there's actually a few things like that were cut out of the. This isn't what we watched. Was not the broadcast release. It was the original full pilot. So in the broadcast release, they cut out a few things. I think the boobs are one of them. One of the other things they took out was the scene where he's on the Stairmaster and he looks at the Nobel Prize contributor prize.
Why'd they take that scene out?
I'm not sure.
They're like, we got to lose
just for
pointless
time,
scenes,
maybe? I don't know.
I guess it's not necessarily super important in the very first episode.
Yeah, and then it potentially also it also opens up questions, because how could a Nobel Prize contributor not be doing better at a company somewhere?
That's believable to me, because how many stories do you hear in this economy where people are just like not being,
and how much of a guarantee is it that, you know, contributing to one single project will absolutely,
and
for
it's
sure
true
get
that
you
like
somewhere.
he could have been like maybe very good at one point, but maybe some event happened and that he's down on his luck now, so that could have all been a thing. We don't know. That's not in the pilot. All we do know is that it's his 50th birthday. His wife is worried about his cholesterol, so she makes him veggie bacon, and
It's sad.
and their son, this is the only mild spoiler I'll say, because he's the breakfast champion, and of course his very first scene where he appears is him eating breakfast.
Yep.
Which is like and him hating the breakfast his mom has made for him.
He doesn't like turkey bacon. He's like, fuck this shit.
Was it turkey bacon in the episode?
It was turkey bacon.
Or veggie bacon. It might have been veggie bacon or
I think it was veggie bacon, because turkey bacon at least tastes like meat. Veggie bacon tastes kind of gross.
Now I have questions already.
Yeah, go for it.
Sarah said that it's not, well, it's more like people that are really smart. Yeah, I agree. Like they may not get good jobs sometimes, but this guy could relate his skill set to bombs, and the government loves bombs. So this guy should be working for the government. You know what I mean?
He should be, but for some reason he's not.
Did they explain it?
Not in this pilot.
Not in this pilot, but
we don't get to know in this pilot why it happens.
Got it.
We just know that for some reason he's like this.
And he seems to resent his position, right? Like it seems like he understands that he's not being utilized to his full potential.
Yeah, and financially he's definitely strapped, because he's clearly a great teacher. All the kids who are paying attention are actually like, wow, your little presentation is really cool.
Yeah.
And then the dickhead kid is the only one who's really not paying attention.
I love how this is really a testament to like the really horrible healthcare system.
That's the thing. Inherent to the entire show.
This show could only exist in America.
Yes, this is very true.
It's the funny part is there is a spin-off of Breaking Bad where I think it takes place in Colombia or something, and it's called Metastasis, and it still happens there. And in fact, a lot of the episodes, they copy the exact same episodes shot for shot. And I think people do argue that some of these episodes don't make any sense in the context of it being in a different country.
In a country that has universal like healthcare.
Okay, so you said spin-off a second ago, but you mean like a localized version, right?
Yeah, they localized it for
I don't know if they do, but maybe healthcare that's more accessible than America. I don't know.
No.
I think maybe
cocaine is accessible if you're looking for cocaine.
I have to double check where the Breaking Bad spinoff or like Metastasis
anyway, this can be boiled down to American healthcare sucks.
So. It is essentially it is definitely from Colombia. And I think the Colombian version might lean into the fact that they're generally dealing with a huge poverty gap. I think that might be kind of where it comes from. But basically in this show, because he's still poor in this show, so he has to also work at a fucking
he's poor. He's working class.
Yes,
middle class.
No, you think
he owns a home? I know. I said he's lower middle class.
Okay. Well, but think of when this was. So think of a couple of things. Location, Albuquerque.
Yeah,
it's true.
And time. So it was easy to buy a house. Hell, it was easy to buy a house.
And they
have a car, they have food. I would definitely say like lower middle class type situation, but
But definitely like paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, paycheck. I mean, clearly paycheck.
Yeah, clearly paycheck to paycheck, because Skylar
doesn't work.
Yeah, and they showed later in the episode that she kind of doesn't seem to ever work at all, because she's sort of like writing short stories and is thinking that might be her career. And her sister kind of like not bluntly goes, "Do you think anyone cares about your short stories?"
I forgot that's where Skylar started.
Yeah.
I want Skylar's life. That sounds awesome. To just stay home and write short stories and
be preggo and
sure, why not?
But yeah, and then Walt, he gets a surprise birthday party, and it turns out his brother-in-law. So
Skyler's brother?
Skyler. I can't think of Skyler. I can't think of Skyler without thinking of Good Will Hunting. Well, you don't want to hear about my childhood, Skyler.
Well, it's Marie is Skyler's sister, and Marie is married to Hank.
Oh,
that's right.
I thought he was her.
Like a brother or something.
DA was the brother guy.
Yeah. So it's the other way around.
He's
Marie is her sister, and then
gotcha.
And he's the most like stereotypical alpha male man in the episode.
Very much a bro.
Yeah, he's super bro, and he's even like, he's like being super like reckless. He's like showing off his gun to Walt Jr. By the way, Walt Jr., just to like throw another complication in their family, he has cerebral palsy. So right. Walt Jr. has like mobility issues. So that makes their life even more difficult. And during the party, Hank turns on the TV to watch his own DEA bust celebration on the news. And Walt kind of goes, I kind of want to know what that's like.
He sees how much money they seized in the bust.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So then you get that. Then basically he goes on a ride along. On the ride along, while they do the busting, they notice they rush in, leaving Walt alone in the car. And then Walt notices a dude jumping out the window behind a buck naked lady. And that dude is Jesse. Jesse being one of his old students. And Jesse turns out to be a meth dealer. Walt, because he is very, very savvy, tracks Jesse down, says, I want to cook meth with you. And that's essentially how the whole operation starts. They like buy an RV. They do all this preparation. It turns out Walt is a genius with chemistry, so the meth he makes is hyper pure. And Jesse decides to sell it to his contacts and gets busted because his old friends who were captured by the DEA already got out, and they suspect that Jesse is the one who ratted them out. So they get into a hostage situation in the RV, and Walt, using his chemistry wits, so it's very character-based, creates red phosphorus to smoke everyone to death. He puts a mask on Jesse to make sure he survives, and Walt manages to just rush out into the desert with the RV, and that's how it cooks up.
Because there's a wildfire that starts.
Yeah, it starts a wildfire because one of the idiots tossed a cigarette out and into the bushes, and they rush out with the RV, and that connects back to the cold opening of the pilot, where for some reason Walt was shirtless, pantsless, holding a gun, confessing stuff on a tape, and is about to shoot cops as they approach him. Now we know why. It's because the reason he was naked is because he didn't want to smell up his clothes when cooking meth. And
I love that little character detail.
Yeah.
He brings the hangers, and he's like,
he has his own hangers.
His clothes outside.
He's super meticulous. So
the show is really good with that. With setting up these lots of little details.
Yeah. And it turns out it's not the cops. It's, of course, the fire department. So why wouldn't it be? Walt has overthought it. So Walt puts the gun away. He basically saves Jesse. And I guess they gathered the money they were going to get by selling it to the drug dealers. He literally launders it. And then he comes home and fucks his wife. And there's a lot of other
vigor.
Yes, to the point where his wife is like
the best line ever. The best line ever.
Where Walt goes, Skyler goes, Walt, is that you? Because she's never felt it that big before.
That was the best. I died. That was literally the best line ever.
And that's supposed to juxtapose.
It's almost like he's a different person.
You didn't mention earlier that on his birthday.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to mention the juxtaposition is that they do a lot of like show this version, then see another version. So the first version they show is on his birthday, he gets a very lazy hand job from his wife. And while she's like, I don't know what she's doing on the computer.
She's like on a computer doing, like, she's not working. I don't know what she's doing. She's like clicking around.
I don't know what she's doing.
Selling her things on eBay.
Is that what she's doing? Is that what she's doing?
Oh, she's selling things on eBay.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get that. Okay. So she's selling stuff on eBay. And, and it's just like a very lazy, Walt gets a lazy hand job.
Would anybody, a hand job's a hand job. So maybe it's okay. It's serviceable.
Yeah. But that implies that that's the best he gets for his birthday. And normally
it's pretty sad. You could just get nothing. So.
We missed biggest part. Or I missed the biggest part. The reason why Walt is suddenly compelled to become a meth dealer, because while he works at the car wash, he suddenly collapses.
Well, he's been having this ongoing cough, right? And
throughout the whole episode, he's been having a cough.
Something health-wise is looming.
Yeah, and he just collapses, goes to the hospital, somehow very quickly. They diagnose...
also somehow without notifying Skylar?
Yeah. Even like they kind of wave it off by saying, "Oh, I don't want to tell anybody." But that's not. It's kind of impossible in the medical system to.
Yeah, I would think not. But it's all right. It's all right.
But yeah. There's a little bit of disbelief there, but basically, a doctor in a very fancy office tells him he has inoperable lung cancer. So Walt has a ticking clock. So he could die any day, which is why he decides to break bad, as Jesse says, and starts.
But all that happens within like a couple hours because he makes it home on time, and she didn't say,
"Oh, you're a little late,"
Yeah, he's like, during this whole day, I collapsed, went in an ambulance, was in the hospital, got cancer, and back home for dinner.
That's probably the least believable part of the episode, where that all got resolved in a few hours.
I would say so.
Yeah, but the show, the episode itself is like a breakneck pace.
It's the pilot. They had to zoom through it.
There's a lot to set up right away. And they got to it.
I actually love how this show, not only does this show, it touches on our health. It touches on like major issues that Americans face, I think, which is healthcare, the fact that he's a teacher and has to work 2 jobs, like
meth quality.
Meth quality, and how we're not getting pure stuff anymore.
I think it's also like a good detail that like again before, like I point out, they do a lot of juxtaposition. So there's an earlier scene where you see like Walt Jr. He's like getting out of the car, and Walt literally kind of abandons him to walk into the school quickly. He tells him,
wait, is that your read on it? Is he abandoned him?
I goes, "You good?" And then he goes, "Yeah, I'm good." And then Walt just rushes into the school.
That's not my read on it at all. That's interesting that my read on it is that he's in high school. He's driven to school by his dad who works there. And he's giving him this space. I think they had a prior agreement that like, I don't need help. I don't really want to be seen with you.
Yeah.
And that was my read of it, is like, he's a teenager and he just doesn't want to encourage bullies even more so by being seen with his dad and needing more help than he actually needs. That was my read of the scene, which is so fascinating that you saw it as like Walt rushing off.
Well, I think in neither case, it's a really good juxtaposition to later, where after Walt has gotten the cancer diagnosis, he goes out to buy pants with Walt Jr. And some jocks in the background start making fun of Walt Jr. because he has to use crutches. And Walt looks like this is why I think of running away, because in this scenario, it also looks like Walt is running away. He goes straight out the back door. So you think, in my mind,
he's got to get a good position.
Well, in my mind, it makes it seem like, he's doing the same thing what he did before, which is he kind of rushes away.
Wow, we have such different reads on that scene. What did you guys think?
I thought the same thing.
You thought the same thing as me or Marvin?
Marvin.
Really?
Well, yeah, because it's like they had set it up from the car for when he first left them. Like,
no, but the reason for him leaving, I felt it was more like they wanted to give each other space. Like they had prior arrangement. Like, okay, I don't want to be seen with you, Dad.
But then the setup doesn't work out for that second like misdirect. Whereas go ahead.
Well, I more saw it as like, again, reinforcing he's with his parents in this store buying clothes, and because he's with them, they think he's like a baby or a child, so it was more like wanting the separation of like not being seen with his dad in public when you're like a teenager, because I think maybe I'm putting myself in it, because I know like if I ever got dropped off to school by high school, like I hated it. It was so embarrassing. Like I didn't want to be dropped off to school by my parents. Or be seen by them, be seen with them.
Wow, I never had that feeling at all.
I never had that feeling either.
Oh, yeah, I had that feeling for sure.
Wow, like, you really hate your parents.
No,
wow.
It's not hate.
Sarah confirmed for parent hater.
No, it's just when you're a teenager, when you're fucking in high school or middle school or whatever, you want to be cool. You don't want to be with your parents, your mom, and this. And
I never felt that way.
Your dad. No, I definitely felt that way. So I guess that's why I felt that's how that scene was like, don't give the bullies another chance.
Sarah, I do think it's a common experience.
Yeah. What did you think, Dan? Did you think the same read?
I didn't necessarily. think of the like pairing of the scenes like Marvin did, but I don't know. It's almost like Walt feels freer to engage with the world to defend his son
in the way he wants to.
Yeah, like it's like it's like I don't care what my son thinks anymore. It could even almost be like that, where it's like, I'm just gonna like get my justice now. Fuck what Walt thinks.
Yeah, because just to wrap up what happens in that scene, it looks like he runs out the back door, and Skylar is left with Walt Jr., and he's kind of like, "It's okay, just ignore the bullies. We'll buy your pants." And then Walt suddenly appears in the front door and beats the shit out of the jock guy. And it's just like kind of unbelievable almost that he's suddenly that bold. And you kind of wonder where it all comes from, which I think is really fascinating. I think also one minor thing, which is not really, again, not a spoiler, but I thought for someone who like rewatches the pilot after having seen the whole thing, it's really interesting that him sitting in the pool area in the back, he does that the whole series. When he's like thinking, he sits there and throws matches or he spins something. And I think that's really interesting that was set up from the very first episode. It's
a good character build. You know, the writers definitely understood how to build interesting characters. And
well, this was all entirely Vince Gilligan. Vince Gilligan wrote the pilot by himself.
He also wrote Gilligan's Island.
Vince Gilligan
and Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, of X-Files and Hancock fame. He wrote Hancock.
This and Hancock came out the same year, by the way.
Yes, it did. So he was.
What a banger of a year.
Wait, I think Hancock is amazing.
I personally think Hancock has a lot of good ideas.
I think Hancock is as close to one of the best Superman movies that we never got.
Oh, if you're trying to have like Superman with problems movie.
Yeah.
I think the way they explain why the thing happens at the end is really dumb with the whole you can't be too close to this person or this thing happens plot. Yeah. I thought that was really like a massive coincidence and pretty contrived. But I like the general way it's handled. I think casting Will Smith actually was a good choice because at that point he was kind of like, I'm not really doing that much with my career right now. And it sort of mirrored the way the character was working.
But he wasn't working on his marriage, apparently. He wasn't married, so.
Oh, well, it's funny. Hancock came out and was financially a bomb, and so was Breaking Bad. It did not do well at all. Yeah.
Well, neither did Mad Men, which was on the same channel.
True. Yeah.
A lot of AMC shows were slow burns.
Yeah, and I think AMC had like the balls to be like, no, we're gonna let them play out and then figure this out.
Which I really respect. The only I think the first show of theirs that didn't like it was like a hit immediately was Walking Dead.
Yeah.
When Walking Dead come out, they were like instant hit. We're making tons of money. Mad Men, Breaking Bad, when they came out, they were kind of like, no one's really watching this except on reruns on Netflix.
But now they're like so culturally important.
Which is so interesting that's what happens when you just let a show kind of cook and marinate, which I think is great. And and it was also, we're not going to talk about the other episodes, but this season was also a shortened season because there was a writer strike. And they just couldn't finish.
How many seasons? How many episodes was this first season?
I think it was 6, if I remember correctly.
It?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think season 1 was it's 7. It was 7 episodes. Yeah, and they could have done a full. I think they were wanting to do a full 13.
Wow.
And just didn't work out because of the writer strike. Which, if you watch the rest of the show, you know that makes a huge difference.
It's interesting. We just got out of a writer strike.
We just finished a writer strike, and
not too long ago.
Yeah.
I have a very funny story I want to tell about my first introduction. I do. I'm my own.
You shake and bake?
Your local. I'm your local Heisenberg. So my introduction to Breaking Bad happened in 2012, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when I got into grad school.
Oh.
I got into grad school, and our grad school set up a I guess a Facebook group, or
it was a Facebook group. Yeah.
Yeah, they set up a Facebook group for all the incoming students so that we could all, find each other.
I don't think the school set it up. I think it was one of our incoming classmates was so excited that
somebody
they
did, or I don't know how they got the list of names of the incoming class.
I think they asked, and
we had never met each other yet, and school hadn't started yet. But prior to that, they set up a Facebook group or whatever. And I was able to see all of my incoming classmates who I was going to meet. So it was the perfect opportunity to, do some investigating, troll around, see who are these people I'm going to spend the next 3 years with. And one of those people was Marvin Choi. And and his profile photo, and probably the only photo I could find of him, was of this weird kind of artistic man in a hat. It was like black and white, I think.
All right.
And that was the only photo. And I didn't know who this person was. And I wanted to find out who it was because Marvin, I thought it was so strange. I couldn't find any photos of him. His Facebook was like very private, except for this one black and white photo, which I learned was Heisenberg from Breaking Bad.
I don't know what Heisenberg is.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Heisenberg.
A character that will come up, essentially.
And so it was Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. And that, because I discovered it was Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, I had not watched Breaking Bad yet at that point. I had heard about it, but I had not yet started watching it. And so because of that profile photo, I thought, I want to be cool. And when I get to school, I want to know and be able to talk to this guy because clearly he likes this Heisenberg guy and he has no other photos. So maybe I should watch this Breaking Bad show. And that's how I started watching Breaking Bad, was because of Marvin's profile photo on Facebook of Heisenberg. And
wait, does that mean you started watching the show solely off the photo, or were you at least corresponding with him?
No,
we didn't talk until we met in class.
We didn't talk until we met in class, but I had done some research. I was like, what is this photo? I don't know. And I learned that it was someone named Heisenberg.
But why did you pick
what motivated you?
Why did you pick the picture? Like everyone else had just regular pictures?
Yeah, everyone else just had regular. Well, I was confused as to why this guy decided to have this very anonymous illustration, and I couldn't find any photos of him. Like I didn't know what he looked like at all. Because I was creeping. We were all creeping. We were trying to see who
creeping.
Yeah, I think saying we're all creeping. You're like everybody creeps. Everybody creeps.
You get a list, but you know what I mean? Like you get a list of all of your classmates that you're going to meet in the next couple months. Right. I'm literally moving across the country to go spend almost 20 hours a day with these people for the next 3 years. I want to know who they are. And Marvin inspired me to start Breaking Bad because I wanted to be able to talk to him about it, because I thought he loves it so much to put it as his profile picture. I should start it. So that's how I started watching Breaking Bad, because of you.
Yeah, I do like it a lot. I mean, not to like self-plug again, but the
you were
feature
all about it.
Well, the feature film we made together, A Night's Tour, a lot of the shooting style actually was kind of based on stuff that I liked from Breaking Bad. I liked how Breaking Bad doesn't actually use natural light. In fact, it's very, very I think it's
kind of mostly on a set.
Yeah. All the houses are in sets. All the interiors are in sets. But so it's very unnatural, but they light it to look natural. So that's kind of what we went for in A Night's Tour, where there's almost during the day, there's pretty much no lights being used. It's all reflected off of mirrors and bounces. And also I like the handheld look for a lot of it because it adds a uncomfortableness to a lot of it. And that's a lot of that was inspired from Breaking Bad and the way they shot the show, using a kind of a long lens, even for close-ups or for wide shots, still using a long lens.
That was my only complaint.
Oh, you don't like the handheld?
No, I just don't like how the show is shot.
Really?
Oh, in what way? Well, I'm actually curious, genuinely curious.
That's so fascinating.
Okay, so this is we had discussed before that we recorded that we were only going to discuss the pilot.
Right.
But so I have never seen the show, but I know other things because
there's a lot of Breaking Bad in pop culture. Yeah. And so you're going to see stuff from osmosis. Yeah.
Well, I know that famous directors come in and guest direct.
Mm-hmm. Towards the end, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
like
Toward the
Ryan
end, for
Johnson
sure.
came in
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah,
But I didn't think it had a interesting style like for that popped for me. Like it felt very
Oh.
dated for me. It felt like, oh, it's very fucking what was it like?
2008.
Yeah,
Did
it felt like
feel
very
early 2000.
The funny part is
2009, right?
2007 is when they shot it.
Yeah.
So because it premiered in January of 2008. It's funny you say that because what's his name? Vince Gilligan. He said a lot of his visual style was actually borrowed from Tarantino movies
Really?
from the 90s. So he said that's what he did. He said imagine Tarantino but handheld kind of. And
I like
that's
the
why
handheld.
that's why there's trunk shots. There's a lot of trunk
Yeah,
shots.
yeah,
you know?
I didn't
I can kind of
understand.
see what they mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there's
I could see what they mean, but
yeah.
it felt like it felt even older than that. Like we're talking about. Oh fuck! I feel like I'm really hot. I feel like it felt like it was early 2000s.
Yeah, which would make sense.
Well,
yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's shot in the most like interesting way possible. I do love the handhelds. I love it very much. But I wouldn't say like there's like, oh my gosh, revolutionary shots that are like make me think about things. That definitely comes later, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but not in this pilot.
Yeah, but what I like about some pilots is that they set a certain mood for the whole show, and that's why they. Well, there's two things. There's two reasons why they bring big directors to direct pilots.
Right.
One is because they like to get paid because they instantly become executive producers on the show.
Right.
And they get paid for every episode that show ever makes.
That's true. Yeah.
And another reason is because they bring their own interesting like flair to it. Like you'd be surprised how many like pilots Spike Lee directs.
Well, in this case, the reason Vince Gilligan
procedurals. Spike Lee does a lot of procedurals.
Well, the main reason why Vince Gilligan wrote and directed it himself is because no one believed in the project. It was actually really difficult to get off the floor. Yeah. It was only, I think, some random exec at Sony that was like, "Yeah, go for it." But even then, so the original premise was actually supposed to take in San Bernardino. Because it was supposed to, because San Bernardino also is
the Inland Empire
kind of
is a very big meth capital.
So that's why the first pilot, it's not shot with Albuquerque in mind or even written with Albuquerque in mind. If you keep going the rest of the show, it actually turns into kind of a Western because they realize we're in New Mexico. Let's take advantage of the vistas we're in and stuff. And it becomes much more like shot that way. And I think the visual style corresponds as well. It becomes a lot more John Fordy in a lot of shots.
Do you know why they ended up in New Mexico? Was it
cheaper.
Tax reasons? Okay.
Much cheaper. And they were like, just shoot in New Mexico. It's cheaper. And Vince Gilligan was like, well, while I'm here, I might as well just say the setting is New Mexico at that point. Because I don't want to just pretend this is a different, and it works out in the long run because they get to really take advantage of the actual architecture and stuff in New Mexico. Like you'll see lots of like actual restaurants and actual places show up.
Oh, I just keep thinking about those poor people that owned the Breaking Bad house that just
I know
kept getting
people fucking keep
the exterior Breaking Bad house, and they just kept getting annoyed.
You look at the street
that thrown on their roof.
You look at the street that Breaking Bad house is on. That really does look like San Bernardino. That house, they did choose it. Yeah. And so it's funny. Like the DNA of the San Bernardino is all over the pilot. But the only place where you see that you're kind of appreciating Albuquerque for what it is the scene where he's coming out of the bank with the money to give to Jesse, and you see the mountains in the distance.
Yeah, and also when they drive out to go cook.
Yeah, and when they drive out, but even when they drive out, you could imagine that being like the Coachella area.
Cali.
Yeah. Like it's like what Dan said. Like it looks exactly the same. Like you could. It's a very. That's what I like about LA is because you could be in LA, but depending on what city or county you're in a completely different ecosystem.
Yeah. That's why Hollywood's kind of started in LA because not only is it always sunny, there's access to lots of different environments if you want to shoot.
I'm just thinking. Go ahead. Sorry.
I also didn't like the title sequence.
The classic.
I hate it. Because so what I did was I watched this last night, this pilot, but I had already watched another pilot another AMC pilot because I was like, yeah, they kind of came out around the same time, and I want to see like
which one did you watch?
Mad Men.
Oh, it's Mad Men. Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, that's
Mad
just
Men
like
is
such a classic.
I
fucking,
mean,
yeah,
Mad Men's so good.
Well, Mad Men is
title
like
sequence is amazing.
It's Mad Men. They remind me of
The Falling Man, right?
Yeah, so I've seen the pilot for Mad Men as well. That's actually
the pilot's so.
That's the only
pilot
thing
for Mad Men is just so like.
In this
God,
crew, I'm
cringy.
the one who has not seen Mad Men.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm the only one.
Cringy?
Okay. I think it's. I don't, but I know that I've showed it to people. I've been like, watch this pilot, but like the pilot's kind of bad because like the jokes are all like, get back in the kitchen, woman. You know, like it's very like dated
the way
for the time, and like depending on who you're watching the pilot with, they either understand or they like absolutely hate it, and like it's a turn
I love
completely.
the pilot. I really liked it.
I love it.
I've been with people. I only say this because I did watch the pilot with people who were just like, this is garbage. Like this is.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, when you showed me the pilot and I watched it with you. This is what I thought. It's funny you brought up Mad Men because to me. I know Dan has read Understanding Comics, but has Sarah or Ricardo read Understanding Comics?
I have not.
So there's a section. There's a section in Understanding Comics I love, and it's a breakdown of art in general. He stops talking about comics and just starts talking about art. And what he says is that art is like an onion. It's a series of layers. Is like there's like idiom, there is style, there's craft, there's all this stuff that's each a layer of the onion. And some people, as an artist, they stop at one layer and like, oh, I'm only going to care about the idiom. Basically, like, oh, I only write superhero comics, or I only do this. Some people stop at the craft; they really like just the craft of it. But if you get to the core of art, there's two kind of like symbiotic things. It's form and content. And I think Breaking Bad is like the epitome of content. Like they sort of cared about how they were going to show it, but what they really cared about was showing the content of this story with Walter White. And I feel like Mad Men is about form. It's about like introducing this world and the way it works. And the style is really necessary in order to make that work. And that's why that first episode is like, we're not doing a deep dive into characters. We're showing off what the world feels like. It's the form of the world.
Oh, you know, it's so funny that I think the opposite.
Really? That's very interesting.
I saw the pilot and it instantly fucking hooked me from one fucking line, dude.
Well, I don't think, I think form can hook people.
Was there a specific line?
Yeah. I'll tell you the line in a bit. But like, not only was it forming style and like in this world, but like they instantly told you who Don Draper was and what he was in this universe. And like you knew so much about Don Draper by one line. When he's talking to the hippies and they're smoking weed and he says, and I live by this fucking thing. It's my mantra now, which is the universe is indifferent.
Yeah.
And
you're making me want to watch Mad Men again.
It told you everything you needed.
I love
told
Mad
you
Men.
so much about Don Draper. It told you so much about his.
I love when they get to like when they go through the different decades, like later in the season, and they get to like the 70s and like
right.
Like, oh god. It's
but I also wouldn't
amazing.
say that Breaking Bad is devoid of form or style either. I mean, like,
no.
I think the fact that like
the thing is that you have to. I'm just judging it on the pilot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, even in the pilot, like I think it's. The opening's very stylish, like the whole hand cam thing, the fact that it leads into the barrel of the gun and leads out of the barrel of the gun for the end. I think like
pants flying on the screen.
Yeah, it starts off with a vista and with pants flying in and then suddenly an RV. Like there's an attempt to be like, it does remind me of like 90s indie movie edgy stuff,
yes.
You know?
That's what makes me.
Yeah.
So because of the show, we've watched a couple of different pilots, and the pilots that I think are like, oh wow, this is like that I'm like blown away with are the ones that blur the line of like when they were made and like they blend time and space. You know what I mean, like you're like, oh wow, like we. Okay, I'll put it Deadwood, which we covered before or after this. It was definitely shot specifically. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but overall I didn't feel like oh shit, like this is very dated. Like it just felt like, oh wow,
I actually
it's
disagree.
I mean, it seems like you really like period specific pieces that are almost timeless. It's like you
But I
can't
actually
determine
disagree
like
with-
when they're shot, but
I kind of
they're
disagree with
very
your
period
assessment on
pieces.
Deadwood, though. For me, Deadwood feels like it was made in a very specific time as well. So, like, I feel like it also is kind of stylishly a throwback, but I think it works. Like, I like the pilot of Deadwood because it does feel almost nostalgic. It feels like we just started HD again, and we just started, like, figuring out how to do that with stuff that isn't a Kevin Smith movie, you know? And I find that interesting.
Just based off of the pilot, it does feel like a certain kind of late 90s movie. And I feel like that's kind of when he was really
like that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
I think that's because it's Vince Gilligan's personal, like he directed the X-Files, right? So there's part of it also feels kind of like an X-Files style where it's like kind of corny and it's kind of kitschy in a 90s way. And the cinematography is really, or the style of it, I should say, of what they show on frame and whatnot is very like, look at that shit. Whoa, you know, and we're keeping it to the context of the pilot, but from the pilot, it is interesting to see how he will evolve over time, or the show will evolve over time, because it's not just him. The show definitely gets crazier in terms of the way it's constructed once it's opened to a crew, because this is literally him making a short, essentially.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about shows like this, and like I don't know if you guys have seen The Sopranos.
Yeah, I've actually only seen the pilot of The Sopranos.
Okay, but you never seen like into the first.
No,
like,
I
second
haven't.
season.
We haven't gone past yet. Yeah,
this has the same thing as The Sopranos, which I know because I've read of things, I've heard things, so like I know that they eventually become short films, kind of, and that's exactly what I love The Sopranos, because once David Chase hooked people, like a lot of people look at David Chase's writing and like his style, and they're like, oh, he's very like classic and stuff, and like he just, you know what I mean, it's a very classic like gangster type of thing. But if you like listen to him talk, he is such a like cinema nerd. Like he likes like the French fucking new wave. He likes so many things, and when you watch the episodes, I just had somebody who started The Sopranos actually, because on my recommendation, and he's like really a big like film like nerd, and he's like, dude, that's like this episode is just such like all like Dutch movies, dude. And I'm like, yeah, and like you see that like every season he takes about half the season and he makes short films. It's basically
that's fascinating.
It's basically like what he wanted to do in film school and no one ever gave the money to do. He's doing it, but within the gangster fucking genre.
To me, when I saw the pilot of The Sopranos, I got the sense that he was thinking about Tony Soprano for like years. There is like a sense of depth to that character just in that pilot where I go, he is incredibly complicated already in this one pilot. Wow. We have a lot to discuss. And that's what I found fascinating in The Sopranos, is I was like, I mean, it's a gangster show where a lot of the book ending elements are about therapy sessions.
Yeah.
That's so interesting to me that like,
that is actually, and
it's like, it's a very good vehicle to sort of just dive into what he's really feeling about, and the way he has a different persona when he feels like he has to put up a front versus when he thinks he's alone and he just wants to feed ducks, you know, like it's very interesting. But yeah, I mean, we was Breaking Bad, so
we need to talk about Hank though.
Oh,
and impressions about Hank, how we feel about Hank, the things he says. To me, Hank is introduced mainly at this party, and it's not Walt's birthday. It's Hank's it's Hank's party.
He's the life of the party.
He's literally sitting in like at the head of like the living room area. Everyone's around him. The focus is on him.
He's holding
his
court.
Gun, and he's talking about his gun and his bust that he did earlier that day, and he's also playing like cool dad to Walter, like, here's his gun, Walter Jr. I should say.
Yeah.
Here's his gun, hold this gun, and Walt's,
and he's being like hyper like toxic masculine, being like, oh, don't be such a pussy, like take out the gun, it's fine, it's cool.
And like I have, is the gun loaded? Should we be pointing it around like that? Should we give it to Walter Jr.? Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem very safe. And it's just all about him. And then you get a little bit when they take Walter on the ride along, you get a little bit more of his personality where he appears quite racist because he makes bets on whether who they're busting is.
You thought that was racist?
Well, he also uses, a word that's kind of a slur.
Yeah, the slur word, yeah, but like, the betting part.
It's like, how is that racist? Sure, he used a slur, but how is that racist?
How is it racist, Sarah?
The betting part to me is like, this is how typical cops act. The slur is like, that's what makes him racist.
I think can be, there's a racist culture in there. And so he's taking a bet on what race that,
notably
he says,
his partner, who seems to be of Latino descent, is right along there with him. Like, this is part of the culture of their job.
Yeah.
They say like, oh, the person they're trying to get.
Don't say the word, dude.
No, I'm not going to say the word.
Don't say.
I'm not going to say the slur. I'm literally not going to say the slur. I would never do that.
It felt like you were, dude.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to say the person's name.
Just kept saying he's bonkers, dude.
Okay, yeah. But like we learned Jesse's name is Captain Cook, and they're like, his partner's like, that's a white boy's name. There's no way that's like, he's super white. Like, there's no way. And then Hank's like betting that it's gonna be somebody else maybe, and they hear the name and they're like, oh, it's Emilio?
Emilio, yeah.
Emilio.
Yeah.
And I tip my hat and I go, Emilio.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I do want to quickly point out.
Wait. Emilio, let me see the name here.
So further evidence of this being
Charlie Sheen's brother.
A Tarantino, like, sort of homage / ripoff. His name is Mr. White. Jesse's name is Pinkman. So Mr. White, Mr. Pink, on purpose. He's very purposely invoking Reservoir Dogs.
And Hank.
Okay, I didn't realize it was on purpose. Or
Beast,
on purpose.
X-Men. He loves X-Men.
Yes.
So
Skyler, Good Will Hunting, Matt Damon, connected to Ben Affleck.
Daredevil.
Bingo.
Disability?
Yeah.
Walt Jr.
So they catch this guy that they're doing the sting on, and they're like, is this man of the Latino persuasion? And then they respond saying his driver's license says Emilia Koyama.
Right.
And then they realize that they're like, Asian, pay up. And he's like, hey, his first name's Emilio. We're not sure yet, and then he says a slur. So
yeah. Well,
yeah. So I don't know. That is an interesting it's like window into Hank.
They're written as typical shitty cops.
Yeah, they're written like real people.
Yeah, and it's like almost like heightened versions, but you could see cops just talking like this. And
I mean, yeah, obviously.
And it is interesting how, like, in the pilot, Hank is not a great guy.
No. I mean, Ricardo, I want to know what do you think of Hank from this first?
Well, it's funny you were talking and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about Hank because I don't know more. You know what I mean? You're talking about 5 seasons or 6 seasons of experience.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, I mean, just based off of this. So you're basically
like, you're doing the whole like, well, what do you think? What do you think?
No,
who do you think Heisenberg's going to be? Who do you think?
We all know who Heisenberg is.
But here's the thing: Nickelback has me rethinking everything. I'll explain. Explain. Everybody likes Nickelback, dude.
No.
I hate Nickelback.
Disagree.
You hate Nickelback.
I
but
do.
all of America, most of America likes Nickelback, dude.
Ooh.
You have to accept that, Sarah. Okay.
Ooh.
In order for this theory,
I guess they sell records, so somebody must be listening.
Just look at the sales numbers. Look at the concerts they sell out. Like people.
There's no proof that's not
a
money laundering operation.
I mean, people like Kid Rock.
People like Kid Rock, but think about it. People like Nickelback, and I hate Nickelback. Right now, I have to accept a couple things. Either I have bad taste. I mean, or I'm just not looking at Nickelback in the right way. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I say
everyone else could also be wrong.
I understand that, but like if 10 people tell you you're a dick, and 3 people tell you you're nice, what do you think? You think you're nice or you think you're a dick?
It really does depend on who's telling you who's nice and who's telling you who's a dick. That really does, though.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah, but it has me rethinking everything. So I've been rethinking, like, I see a character in a movie and I'm like, well, let me rethink. Does this suffer from the Nickelback syndrome?
Okay, I see where you're getting at with this now.
Well, what did you think about the pilot overall then? What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I'll spoil this. I would keep watching because I watched like 2 more episodes after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you see kind of how Hank changes a little. Like, he's not what he is in the pilot, which is fascinating.
Yeah. But everybody's different like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
this whole show is everybody.
Yeah, but I mean that you're talking about every character in every piece of literature too. Like,
that's true.
You they have to change, or else then
that's
why?
Not true. Some characters.
Does Skylar really change based on my
don't spoil
memory?
it. Please.
I don't even know. I won't spoil it, but I'll leave that as an open question to those listening.
I have a question, Ricardo. Did you reach the episode where they have the talk with the talking pillow? Then
no.
Okay, so never mind.
I just did 3 episodes. That's it.
Okay, because maybe you've seen general episodes where they're just
I've seen nothing. Literally, these are the 3 only episodes I've ever seen.
No, but I mean, like, they had scenes where they were just in the house by themselves talking. Maybe
who is Walt?
Just in general, like Walt with his wife or with Skylar.
Sure, yeah.
There's one thing I always thought was super interesting, especially in the first season and later on, whenever they're talking in their house, it's dead silent. There's no ambiance. If you listen to the show with headphones on, there is no ambient track. And it's like really uncomfortable. I think that it gets the most uncomfortable when you eventually reach that pillow talk scene where they use the talking pillow and you're like, this is so uncomfortable. Like, it is deadly silent and on purpose. Like, they use a noise gate.
Yeah, it's designed that way. The house itself is very uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, because it's how deadly quiet it is. And it's I think that's a fascinating decision they did.
It seems tense. The house seems tense.
Yeah,
I'd say so.
And it seems like they did a really good job of expressing once Walt walks through the door of the house, there's problems everywhere. There's people in the house that he doesn't want there. There's money problems. Yeah. There's Skylar. There's Marie. There's
Skylar. Like,
I don't like the sister. I don't like the sister at all.
Marie and her purple.
Oh, you're not alone.
But like, it just seems like Walt. It's very set up in the pilot that this house, the people in it, his life, there are problems and he's not happy, and something's got to give. He's gonna break,
and he's not in control of anything. Yeah, like even in his own surprise birthday party, he told Skylar, no surprise birthday party. She throws one anyway, and then she's mad at him for being late.
Oh, there's also one scene. One really minor line that I think also sums up their relationship is she questions him about using a credit card.
Yeah.
To buy something. She's like, did you use the MasterCard?
That was after he got back from the hospital. Like, he had just got the diagnosis.
Yeah.
He comes home and she's like, did you buy something here?
And he's like, oh, I think I bought some like toilet paper or something. Like, it's something very minor. But she's like, I told you not to use that card. Like, like, come on. And I'm just
you thought that was bad?
No, I didn't think it was bad. I just think it's a good character building line and moment that really made me appreciate and come and express like what their relationship is like and what they're going through.
It's
like
also
my wife tells me that all the time.
Well, I think it's also the juxtaposition of he just got back with bombshell life-changing news, and she's peppering him with, this. Why did you use that credit card?
But she didn't know.
I know. But in his mind, it's just like,
but it tells you, it just gives you a good sense of their relationship without having to, this is what you want in a pilot to me, is you want these like very small lines that you can fit into a pilot, but it tells you so much about their relationship.
Yeah.
It's just like you get it right away. Instantly they're having money problems. Skylar wears the pants in terms of like what is being spent. Yet it doesn't feel justified because Walt is the one working. And they're hiding things from each other.
But what are you talking about? Weird power dynamics now?
Yeah, does
it contribute to the show
dynamics.
Though? No, I understand, but I'm saying like, do you think they're cliche, or do you what do you?
I don't think it's cliche. I'm just saying it does putting moments like this in the pilot does a really good job at setting up their dynamics quickly. So I'm giving them kudos for doing it. Like it's a good way to, it's like a shortcut to kind of get a lot of information about this relationship in the pilot.
With like it's like it's like an in-world line versus like, you know, like a quickly written sitcom would probably be like, Walt, you know that I'm the one who's supposed to be looking at the finances, and I noticed that you did this, you know, like, but instead it's more of like an aside. I think it's similar to when he gets home at the very end of the episode and it's late at night and she goes, Walt, the worst thing you can do is push me away. And she's like super furious while in bed. And then it leads to the sex scene. And you're like, this is like a, like compare, that's the comparison to her peppering him about the credit card, right? Both.
Well, like, she knows something.
Lots of that throughout the episode. That's what I love about this the pilot is there's a lot of like mundane example, Breaking Bad example. And they clash them a lot in random points throughout the episode.
Like the pilot does a really good job of establishing a lot about the world in little precise moments. And
little
details. That's what I really appreciated. I think that's a sign of a really well-written pilot, in my opinion. I would write that way. I love this style of writing. I love this style of filmmaking. So.
I do sometimes. Like, I get what cliche is in power dynamics, but then sometimes I don't pay attention to them because I don't know, maybe I don't subscribe to them or something. Like, I make a lot of the money in our relationship, but I don't want anything to do with fucking money. Like,
right.
And she tells me, and my wife tells me one time, like, oh, you got to use the other credit card because that has a point, motherfucker. You got to use that for gas, my dude. But
that tells us instantly about your relationship, right? Like, just that little
tells you a lot
line,
about me.
right?
My dream
tells you a lot about you.
My dream growing up was to not know. I don't know where we pay the power bill. If my wife dies, I'm fucked, dude. Like, I don't know what we pay anything to. All I know is how much I could spend per month.
Right. But I think
but that tells us so much about you, Ricardo.
But then I think the difference.
I mean, I'm living my dream, by the way. Like,
this is what I want.
I think the difference in the dynamic of the show, though, is that it seems kind of like Walt does do the lion's share of all tasks, and Skylar kind of just pops in and goes, "Hey, this is wrong, though."
Oh yeah,
this is wrong.
My wife never does that.
You know, like she's not in charge. Like when she has that little talk with Marie on the side, she goes, "Oh, I'm writing short stories. You know, maybe they'll sell." You know, like that's her actual focus. It's like this inane side activity that is.
And also, it seems like Walt wants the freedom to be able to make his decisions to buy the toilet paper on the credit card that he wants. Like he is not that person that wants to give up that control. I think he's realizing that he wants to have a little bit more say in his life and the direction that it goes in.
Yeah, especially since that's just after he got his diagnosis. So he's kind of like,
and
that's why, you know, he goes back to the car wash and he wrecks up the place. He
was crazy.
He goes, like, take this, Bogdan. Like, fuck your eyebrows, Bogdan.
He does have pretty big eyebrows. Pretty impressive eyebrows.
Yeah, there's a lot of direct juxtapositions in the episode, you know.
Yeah,
and
harsh
that's something
for that actor.
Yeah. Though they look like they were fake eyebrows.
Yeah, they gotta be fake, right?
No,
they gotta be.
I think they're real. I think they're real.
It look real.
It looked like a merkin, dude. Like a
but
there
are people that have eyebrows like that.
But those look pasted on.
But think about it, Sarah. It would
save their ego if they were pasted on.
Okay, we need to look up the actor. We need to look up the actor right now. Someone, please.
Like how bad would it be?
I'm voting. It's real.
I'll look it up.
Do you think it's? Like they're like finding somebody with really fake eyebrows because we got to make fun of him.
I think they casted him. He showed up to the casting.
It's easier to go just put some fake eyebrows on him because we don't want to make fun of him.
I think he showed up to the casting and they said this guy's great and they wrote a line for him. 100%. That's what I think.
He does have bushy eyebrows in real life. So the only other thing he's shown up in is Crash.
Which Crash?
Yeah,
the Oscar-winning Crash.
The racist movie. But when I look at Bogdan though in the episode,
can you send a link? What's this guy's name? I want to see.
His name is Marius Stan. So Marius Stan is his name, and he does have bushy eyebrows. But in the show, it looks like they made it even bushier, almost.
See? They
murkined
his eyebrows.
This is him. This is his natural eyebrows, guys. This is his natural eyebrows. Look at his eyebrows. No, this is totally him.
Send a link. I don't believe you.
Literally, like, look at this. This is crazy.
I see this. I just put it in our chat. That's on the side. But that's what I see.
Those are way bigger.
Pretty prominent. Man.
I know they're prominent.
Maybe
but
that's
look at the one. Look at the one on the right.
I think what they may have done is they combed it and then they dyed it black so that there's no white in it at all. Because in real life, he has some white in his brow, which makes it not as super like prominently bushy.
You know that he's actually a Romanian scientist. He's an actual scientist. Yeah,
he was probably the technical advisor.
I don't know. He's in the Breaking Bad wiki.
He's a Romanian scientist, actor, and author.
He's currently a senior scientist at the Nuclear Engineering Division from the Argonne National Laboratory. Wow.
Yo, that's
so fascinating that he did this, and then he also just played the car wash guy.
No, he was not in the movie Crash. He was in the Starz drama series Crash. So that's
based on the movie.
I don't even know. Was that based on the movie?
I think it was Crash based on a novel by Sapphire.
Yes, it was. It was. Yeah, it was based on the movie. What a bad idea.
Crash push.
Wow.
Dermot Mulroney or Dylan McDermott?
I don't know the first one, so
I just hear syllables now.
Yeah, dude.
Ba-da-da-ba-ba or ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Bookity-beppo or poopity-puppo.
All right. Well, Ricardo would stay tuned. We got it. Yeah,
I already did it.
Yeah, he stayed tuned actually already.
Yeah,
I already stayed tuned.
Like
also.
stay tuned, as in like there's 5 seasons, correct?
Oh, it means he'll keep watching.
We asked the question, would you stay tuned? Not would you stay tuned to the whole series?
That's true.
I don't know.
I'm actually just asking in general. There's 5 seasons, right?
Even now, there's 5 seasons.
Yeah. Okay. Even now, I'm like, I'm kind of busy. I'll watch this later.
Exactly. But
yeah,
and it's it'll be available for you.
Yeah.
It's not as much in the cultural sphere as it was back in the early 2000s, where it was like, I feel like it was the Game of Thrones of like the early.
It's Lost.
It's the Lost. Because I felt like everybody was watching Breaking Bad, and I was the only person that started it in like 2012, and at that point, you had almost all been done. I think
it was less the Lost, because I think when I never watched Lost, but when I would hear people discuss Lost, people would discuss it in like frustrated tones.
Oh.
I think people would be like, is that what happened? Why did they do it that way? That was weird.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen with that polar bear? Weird.
Well, I feel like the frustrated tones increased exponentially after it ended.
Yes. Whereas like Breaking Bad sort of led to a crescendo and everyone went, damn, that ended.
Breaking Bad did end well. I think Breaking Bad ended well.
Here's the thing about Lost is that it was good for about 3 seasons, and then I feel like Damon Lindelof was like, oh God, I hope they just cancel this mid-season. And then he's like, next season is going to be it. We're going to just cancel.
Well, he admitted.
He didn't know. He admitted. Yeah, but the best scenario though would be like, oh, we just cut you off and you don't have to finish it off. That way you don't have to commit to an ending, because he didn't have an ending.
But but that would be just as frustrating.
No, well, at least for him, it would have been like, well, they didn't let me finish, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, he wanted an easy out. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to think about it, which is, which is not what, like, for Breaking Bad, to their credit, they ended the show earlier than AMC wanted them to. AMC was like, how much longer can we do this? And they were like, no, our 5th season's our last season. We're not making any more. The story is going to end. And that's why they negotiated that last season being a 2-parter, because they were like, we really want a 6th season. Can we just split the 5th season in 2? And that's one of the reasons why
I hate that about shows. Fucking hated it.
If you ever reach the 5th season, the first half, it's all but really well paced, in my opinion. Like, it feels good, but the first half is like slow, even for Breaking Bad. And then the second half is like a fucking bam, super fast, fucking tons of shit happening all at once. Because that's just how it ended up paced. But it makes a good juxtaposition of, wow, that's a lot happening at once. And it makes it really interesting. But yeah, that's the pilot for Breaking Bad. I feel like we had a good time. I liked it.
I would stay tuned, and I did stay tuned.
Yeah, we all stay tuned.
And I will
give a special shout out to Jesse, because we didn't really talk about it much.
We didn't really talk about Jesse. Yeah, we should touch on that.
Jesse James?
Aaron Paul. Yeah.
I love Aaron Paul, and he did such his acting actually. He did such a good job.
He's one of the Paul brothers. Is Logan, Aaron?
No. He's clearly the best one.
Yeah, of course, dude.
I love his acting in this. I think he plays the role quite well. It was not really refreshing to go back and see a young Aaron Paul.
I think it's really interesting seeing you see Bryan Cranston's performance in the episode, and his performance feels like classic. It's like a classic, like good acting, like I know what I'm doing actor. And then you see Aaron Paul juxtaposed with him. Aaron Paul seems like an effervescent, off the cuff, I'm kind of just doing what I really do as a person actor. And it's a really interesting juxtaposition.
Almost more like methody, I guess, maybe.
No, I would say Bryan Cranston's the one who's being a little more methody because...
Or like, what's the one where they kind of like...
He's just being normal. He's being him. He's using his own personality as...
Not seasoned in acting methods.
I think it's like he's using his own personality as his performance. Whereas Bryan Cranston, in real life, he's like a huge goofball. We've seen him at Comic-Con, and he just like loves cracking jokes, making dirty jokes, and like just being weird.
That's kind of like how I feel when I see John Hamm in like comedies. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, John Hamm is actually a huge like joke guy.
Just like,
he loves just having fun.
What do you mean you're in comedies and you're doing these funny joke things? You're Don Draper. What?
Which is what he's actually wanted to do for a while. So that's why after Mad Men, he started.
It's so weird. Like after Mad Men, I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, that's why he started moving to comedy. But Bryan Cranston is always, there's always the joke, oh, it's Hal from Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. Now he's become the dad in Breaking Bad, and what a weird combo.
Right,
yeah. And that's just like his range, though. It's just that naturally he's goofy like Hal, maybe not as goofy because Hal is like a cartoon. But like,
and before that, he was Fei Long in Street Fighter 2, the animated movie.
Yes, yeah,
and a bee monster from Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin.
Yes, it's true. He's got quite the varied career.
Bryan Cranston.
Oh, yeah. And
you know who could have played this part too of Jesse Pinkman? Justin Chadwin.
Justin Chadwin. I don't quite know who that is.
He's in a bunch of stuff.
I thought you were about to say Justin Long.
Well, that too, dude.
Justin Timberlake.
Justin Chadwin.
Wait, wasn't Justin Chadwin the guy who played the Goku in Dragon Ball Evolution?
Yeah, him.
Oh no, fuck that guy. That guy was awful.
Dude, here's the thing about...
You don't like that, Marvin?
No, this guy sucks. He's a terrible actor.
I mean, in Dragon Ball Z...
I mean, he's like...
range.
We have Elijah Wood at home.
Yeah.
That's Justin Chatwin.
Here's the thing about Justin. What's his name? Logan. Not Logan Paul. What's his name?
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
Like he's really good, but I don't want to talk shit about him. But okay,
go for it.
There's a movie called Need for Speed. Need for Speed.
He's not going to listen.
Oh
to
yeah,
this.
he's not good at Need for Speed.
And here's the thing: is that like
that's the wrong movie for
everyone. No, the thing is that everyone else knows what movie they're in.
Yes.
They're like, oh, we get it.
This is we're in a Need for Speed movie, and Aaron Paul took it seriously.
And Aaron Paul took it really serious, and like it could have been so fun, dude, because like the stunts were cool.
Why did anyone fucking direct him that way? Then it seems like no one directed him.
And no one took him aside and goes, "Hey, dude, have fun out there, dude. Don't
pretend the movie's not Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Pretend it's Fast and Furious.
Yeah. Loosen up, baby. Yeah. Loosen up some shoulders, dude. You're doing all the acting up here, dude. Loosen up, dude. Loosen up, man. I feel like if someone had just gotten him high on set, they'd be like, just be cool, man. Be cool. But anyway, that's my Aaron Paul review.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people like tried to draw a parallel between like Walter and Jesse with Doc Brown and Marty McFly. And I do kind of want to give credit to this show for inventing a scenario that is a little more realistic for why, two men with this much of an age gap would be hanging out together and becoming, very close. And
meth is more realistic than just wacky science.
Meth is way more realistic.
Yeah. Although, if you need a science mentor, you're gonna need to make meth, not a time machine.
Yeah, that's all you gotta make. Yeah. That's funny. Vince Gilligan said he loved Aaron Paul. He thought Aaron Paul was fantastic. He said his only regret with Aaron Paul is that they never gave him shitty teeth.
Oh my god, his teeth are immaculate.
Yeah, he has beautiful teeth.
I'll bet like every real meth head was like, "Fuck you, this isn't."
Because the funny part is later in the series, you do see people who are hooked on meth. and they are fucked up.
No, Aaron Paul looks perfect. Actually, while I was watching this pilot, I did think that to myself. I was like, Aaron Paul has the fucking brightest, whitest, perfect
He's a beautiful smile.
Yeah. He's a beautiful smile. I was like, I don't know if he thought like, I'm going to be in this show. I'm going to get my smile fixed. It's going to be like white, bright, blinding, because it is actually insanely white, like insanely like perfect.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because I did think that in my head when I was watching it.
Yeah, it's like Vince Gilligan in Round Tables. He's like, oh, we did the pilot, we didn't fuck up his teeth, and the rest of the show, his teeth has to be consistent. So we kept
at the
that
same
way.
time, though, it would have become like a really big difference, because the way he acts is that he's almost always showing his teeth.
Yeah.
That's truth. Yeah,
Is he a mouth actor? I gotta check. You know,
he's
how
a
there's
whole
like
face actor. He uses his whole face a lot.
There's actors that use their mouth to act. Like
he uses his brows a lot too. Like he's very like he furrows his brows quite a bit.
Yeah, he tends to stare intensely a lot.
Whereas Bryan Cranston's more about like holding a expression and doing subtle changes to it to get his performance across.
He likes to look around.
Yeah, Aaron Paul is very much like big expressions that change a lot. Like there's like a scene way later in the series where he's having an awkward dinner, and the whole time he's just like gesticulating his face like crazy.
I want to say they're like,
you know what? Aaron Paul is a mouth actor, I think.
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
Did you
definitely
say gesticulating?
Jest.
I want a count of how many times Aaron Paul like just holds a stare at someone while either nodding his head or shaking his head.
He does that a lot. That is something he does a lot. That's like, you know how some actors have like their defaults comfort acting things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of, I think, Aaron Paul's comfort acting.
With Tom Cruise, I think it's a squint and head tilt.
Yeah. The only other actor who I see playing this part, but he was too young when it started, is the guy from The Bear, Jeremy Allen
Carmy?
White.
Carmy.
Yeah, well, Carmy is that guy. He's fucking intense. Yeah,
I've always liked him, like because he was in Shameless, and I love. I love Shameless. I love Shameless because of him.
We gotta add that. My sister loves Shameless. Yeah. She fucking loves that show.
Yeah.
I mean, all of them are great actors, but he stood out.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Jeremy Allen White, he definitely is like a fully embodying.
What did he say recently? That was, I think I sent it to you guys.
Oh yeah, he was
the Marvel thing.
Yeah, he was invited to audition for what he claimed was a Marvel-y part. That's what he called it. So we don't know if it's actually for Marvel or not.
It's probably DC, dude.
He said, I had a meeting for a kind of Marvel-y movie, and I had an attitude. And they said, tell me about why I should do your movie. And they were like, fuck you. And I was like, right on.
Wait, who said that?
The bear guy.
The producer said fuck you to him because he was questioning.
So he basically he got to the audition.
He was like, why should I be in your movie?
Why should I do your movie? Like, tell me why.
And they're like,
sell
go
it
fuck
to
yourself.
Me. And they said, fuck you. And he was like, right on. And he left. Jeremy Allen White, actor. And I was like, I can appreciate that. I kind of love that.
Well, yeah. He just doesn't want to. If he doesn't want to do a role, he doesn't want to do a role. It's fine. Yeah, don't force.
I mean,
yourself.
especially if they asked him to audition or approached him. It's like, well, why did you approach me? Tell me why you want me to do this. Why do you want me for this?
It is a valid question to be like, what do you think valid? I will? Why would I be? What do you want me to do for your movie? You know, like
what is it about what I did already that you wanted me to do now?
I guess they saw that as
I think they were
insulting.
like, oh, it's a prestigious role. You got to be on board automatically.
He's like, do you know who Gloria Estefan is? And he's like, yeah. He's like, she has nothing to do with this project. But anyway.
Oh my god. I also want to say shout out to all the amazing spinoff shows that have come from Breaking Bad. I'm very thankful for those. I hope we cover.
How many shows are there?
There's just one, there's really.
One, but I think there's another one in development.
Oh, so after
based on another one.
After Better Call Saul, there is another spinoff that they are working on right now. Actually,
and without going into anything about what it's about, is El Camino like a like a redheaded stepchild.
Right, and there's the
El Camino
movie, which is the epilogue of the show. It's not a finale.
Yep.
It's a after finale movie, which means there's very little actually to do with the plot. It's just like extra stuff that you could see happening afterward.
Okay, because I actually never saw that.
It's of no real consequence, actually.
That's kind of why I didn't.
It's actually like kind of interesting to watch because you see like, this kind of happens this way, this happens this way. Interesting. But it doesn't add anything to the actual Breaking Bad story per se. It's definitely epilogue. And it's definitely Vince Gilligan having been like, I kind of just want to direct again. And I just kind of want to use these characters I already know. And that's kind of what he pitched it as. He's like, you guys want more Breaking Bad content, right? Like the studios, they're like, you guys want more Breaking Bad content, right? So
you should have given what the people want, dude, which is more Gilligan's Island content.
Better Call Saul.
Think about Gilligan's Island
seen?
in fucking Albuquerque, dude.
Well, they just stuck in the desert.
Yeah, dude.
Has everyone seen Better Call Saul?
No, Dan has not. Dan has not seen all of it, and Ricardo's not even started.
Yeah, I'm midway through season 1.
I don't know.
Better Call.
No, I have. Why would I skip ahead?
Yeah,
well,
Ricardo wouldn't.
It would be. It would definitely be skipping ahead.
Yeah, it would be.
Absolute. Do not watch Better Call Saul before Breaking Bad.
No, you should definitely play Snake Eater first.
Yeah, I would definitely say
Metal Gear joke.
You do need to see Breaking Bad first, but Better Call Saul is an excellent show. So
in a very different way, which is, and I think they have a really like Vince Gilligan has an excellent way of casting comedic actors. I think Vince Gilligan has an excellent way of casting comedic actors to become something really interesting.
Like who?
Like Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston was, most broadly known for Malcolm in the Middle, and then Bob Odenkirk ends up being in the main lead in Better Call Saul and just kills it.
He's great. I mean, he's fucking amazing. Which is weird because when I heard that they were doing a spinoff of Better Call Saul, I was like, oh no, this is going to be so terrible. Like they jumped the shark, whatever. Like I thought like there's no way a spinoff from the show. I want it to be good, but like there's no way they're going to pull it off. And I was 100 and
there's a lot of people I talk with
wrong.
that say Better Call Saul is better.
Oh, I'm in that camp actually. I
don't quite fully think so, but I think it's very good in a very different way. It's a completely different type of show.
Better. I think it's better.
I think comedian makes the best actors actually.
Oh, like, 100%.
I don't think it's a shocking thing when comedians like do a dramatic role.
No,
like,
I don't think it's shocking. I think it's that Vince Gilligan understands that. I think he's willing to take the chance.
Yeah.
A lot of directors and whatnot are not willing to. They want to work with
think about the track record of like look at Ron Williams.
Jim Carrey,
dude. Like every time like a comedian takes like a really good like swing, Adam Sandler. Yeah. Fucking amazing and Punch Drunk Love.
Oh, I guess he's not my favorite. He's at the bottom of the list.
To be honest,
I think I think Adam Sandler in like Uncut Gems.
Yeah, what about Uncut Gems?
Oh no! I hated Uncut Gems.
I love Uncut Gems.
I think you guys bring up Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler though, but I know a lot of people who have said those are like the exception that proves the rule for their performances overall. Like they don't think Jim Carrey is actually great dramatic. Like remember, what was it called? Like the Amnesia movie with Jim Carrey was in that was about the movie theater. Like it was
Eternal Sunshine.
No, that's
the Majestic.
The Majestic. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people were like
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless
Majestic. He's not a great serious actor.
Oh, the Majestic. I thought the Majestic was great.
Bomb. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't.
It's a great Frank.
So I don't actually remember.
I'd say the Truman Show is a great sweet spot.
Yeah,
Truman Show is good. Eternal Sunshine you bring up is also great. He's great in that too.
Eternal Sunshine, yeah.
Number 23.
He's got some good ones,
dude.
No, yeah, I think so. But a lot of people use the examples you brought up to be like. I'm just pointing that out. That like they think, these are
how many exceptions before it's like, well. There are too many for them all to be exceptions.
I think for Adam Sandler, they would claim that Punch Drunk Love and Uncut Gems only work because they kind of point out that Adam Sandler is a huge fucking asshole.
Uncut Gems did not work.
And
what are you talking about? I honestly think time will prove that Uncut Gems is a masterpiece.
Uncut Gems.
Well, I think a lot of people are saying that right
already
now.
think that.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I don't see
I
it.
personally think
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
just
God.
fine.
I went to go see Uncut Gems with somebody, a coworker of mine, and we both walked out of there being like, that was terrible.
Really? No,
I
no.
think-
We both
think-
hated it.
I've seen it so many times.
Oh my
I think
God,
to me,
I hated
Uncut
it.
Gems is like a fascinating, like,
Fucking hated
how
it.
stressful can we make this
It was
scenario?
just
And it's
screaming
like,
all the time.
well, yeah, it's
All
like
the
it's like
time.
it's like an experiment in stress, and it's like kind of like
I was like, I don't think Adam Sandler has spoke at a normal tone this entire movie.
that was the point, though.
It was
Yeah.
just
Have you
insane.
guys seen Good Times?
No, I haven't seen Good Times.
Mm.
No.
That's another one where it's like it's just it's just that like they make that type of movie like that's their tempo and that's
Yeah.
their
The Safdie
and
brothers.
I
yeah.
love that. I fucking love that. Like it's funny because a lot of people think. So I was just talking to one of our friends, Adam, and we were talking about Martin Scorsese's films, and I was talking about like how I love After Hours because it like Uncut Gems and Good Times are like the stepchild of After Hours, where it's like just like someone who probably did too many drugs while fucking writing a script, and it's just so fucking intense, dude, so fucking intense, and I love that in movies. I love that so much in movies.
Interesting. I mean, I've only seen Uncut Gems once, but I feel like, I don't know. On initial watch, I wasn't into it, but I guess I
took
need to
Uncut-
see it again just to see what the hype is all about because everybody really loves it.
I took the feeling of Uncut Gems similarly to who's the guy who directed Irreversible? What's that dude's name? What's that fucker's name?
No, Gaspar Noé.
Yeah.
There we go.
I think of it felt like that tone of his movies.
Oh,
where
really?
it's-
No.
At least in terms of the emotional like tenseness and like lots of like
I guess so.
heightened like
I guess so.
stress. These are stressful movies.
Another movie I could not get through.
I for the most part I don't like his movies.
I don't really like them either.
Yeah.
But Uncut Gems, there was like, I think it's because I don't like the Adam Sandler character, but I want to see what his plan is the whole time. That's kind of like the driving force of it. So whereas like Irreversible, it's just like, this is just cruel and awful. And I don't know why it's happening. kind of tone. But I mean, I get why thematically it's happening, but like,
but it's funny because I love French cinema. Like,
I
love it, dude. Like,
you love anything French, so it doesn't
you're
matter.
French on the inside. Yeah, you're like, I'm all about it.
Did you guys ever see Rust and Bones?
No, I haven't seen Rust and Bones either.
That guy is like one of my favorite directors. That guy is amazing.
Wow.
He did a movie called Read My Lips.
Mm-hmm.
And it stars coincidentally the guy from Irresistible, the guy that was married to Monica Bellucci.
Oh, Irreversible, you mean?
Yeah. What was his name?
It's I forget.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I know that guy.
He was in
Vincent Cassel. Vincent Cassel.
Yeah, Vincent Cassel.
He just got cast in a Tekken 8 game. So
a what? A what?
He's now voicing a character in Tekken 8.
Oh, okay. I thought he was in a live action movie. I was like, oh no, why would he do that?
No, yeah, he's playing Victor Chevalier, the most French name in the world.
Oh yeah,
that's funny. Yeah, this writer director has done like a bunch of movies that are just so fucking great, and I think I don't know what we got to this thing, but he made a movie called Read My Lips, which is about a deaf girl who falls in love with Vincent Cassel, who's like an ex-convict, and they love each other, and it's like a weird abusive relationship, but like he's an ex-con and like an actual con man, and he gets her to read somebody's lips. So he could pull a heist and open up a safe and stuff, and it's really good. And then there's another one called "The Beat That My Heart Skipped," which is great, and they're all great, dude. This guy's
Jacques Audiard is the director.
He fucking directs bangers, dude.
Banger you.
Yeah, dude.
Bangers.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess in the context of Breaking Bad, though,
it was a banger.
Would you consider it a banger, Ricardo? Soft banger?
I would, but I would put this in the same category as The Wire. Where it's like they become like these great shows, but I don't think the pilot's that great. Like
that's so interesting.
Pilot's not that great.
That's so interesting because I watched
The Wire's my favorite show of all time.
But I find that interesting because I watched the pilot of The Wire and I go, I can see where it's going to build, but I don't see it yet. I just if I keep
that's how I feel
watching
about this one. Yeah,
but for Breaking Bad, the first when I saw the pilot, I was like, this is outstanding off the bat. I love this right away, and I think this could stand on its own almost.
Yeah,
and that's how I felt. I find that interesting.
The beauty of opinions and points of view.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Love it.
Yeah,
it is fascinating how you guys really approach this.
Yeah,
I'm with Marvin too. I think this is a pretty great pilot.
It's so funny because then you see the pilot for Better Call Saul, and that isn't a great pilot. Actually, that's like just okay, and that kind of builds like the way The Wire does.
My wife was watching it, and I caught the pilot when it first aired, and I'm like, oh, this show sucks. I'm not gonna watch
it. yeah. To be honest, I saw the pilot for Better Call Saul, and I was like, okay, well, they're doing it. It's probably gonna be fine. And you just keep watching it, and it just builds and builds and builds, and you're like, at the end, they're like, they have built a castle out of these parts. And it's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But all right. Watch that show.
I think I actually like it. The more I think about it, the more I think I like
love
it
the ending to Better Call Saul so much.
I think I like Better Call Saul better than Breaking Bad, just a little bit better. Which is crazy.
Can I ask you a question about a movie that has nothing to do with this, but I just want to
go for it.
What do you guys? You know that Christmas movie that like everyone loves?
It's like you mean Love Actually?
Yes.
What do you guys think? I thought you were about to say It's a Wonderful Life.
No,
I knew Love Actually.
Actually, I don't like that movie either.
I think it's fine. I'm a little sick of it, but I think it's fine. Yeah.
Love Actually. I have people in my family that it's their favorite movie of all time, and they watch it every year. And
really,
I don't like Love Actually.
My older sister is obsessed with Love Actually. She loves it. So we watch it every year together. Okay. But
I was asking because I noticed that like this is a good barometer for me.
It's a measuring stick for you.
Yeah, it's a good measuring stick.
Really?
Because the guy who did Love Actually did a movie like after called About Time, and I'm like, oh, that's my favorite movie. It could be in my favorite movie of like my top 20 of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I enjoyed Love Actually. I don't think it's a bad movie.
Yeah, and people will be like, oh, I fucking hated About Time, but I love Actually.
That's interesting.
So Love Actually, I think it's a pretty solid movie. I like it.
To be fair, I don't like Christmas movies.
It's a movie that takes place during Christmas.
Yeah, but everyone
it's so much more
equates it to Christmas. I get it.
So much more.
I just don't like it.
Isn't so much more?
It is. Okay, my favorite is the one with Professor Snape and
that's just that
Alan Rickman.
Yeah, that plot is he cheats.
No, Marvin. There's so much more.
Are you talking about the good Christmas movie Die Hard?
Is it Alan Rickman and is it Emma Thompson?
Yes, Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson.
Okay, so they're my favorite part, like the favorite little, what do you call, like little stories, little
vignettes.
Yeah, vignettes. They're my favorite vignette in Love Actually because I can relate to her so much, Emma Thompson's character.
Here's my thing about movies that use vignettes. If the vignettes themselves wouldn't be interesting as a short film, I don't think it's a good series of vignettes.
I think these do have interesting vignettes.
I personally don't think they would make very good.
Some are more interesting than others, but
so for example, my favorite actual legit favorite film of all time is Tampopo, which is a Japanese movie about a woman who wants to run a ramen store. And half the movie is vignettes. But I think to me, those vignettes are like really great short films on their own, and they work really well by themselves. And
you know what? I haven't seen this movie. Is it kind of like a Slacker?
No. It's very like kind of like,
because I love Slacker.
It's like funny and like kind of corny and like jokey and like weird things happen. It's by Juzo Itami. It's so far of the movies I've seen by Juzo Itami, the only movie I like of his, because his biggest film in Japan was the Taxing Woman series, which is about like basically a woman who is like a tax IRS person, an auditor for the Japanese, and it's like just her adventures essentially. And I when I saw the first Taxing Woman movie, I was like, this movie is sucky. I don't like this at all. But I like Tampopo quite a bit. And to me, the thing I love about Tampopo is that like every little section is not only wonderful on its own, but when you weave them together, it takes you on an emotional roller coaster that emotionally all connects, even though they don't feel connected, like in terms of plot. In fact, in terms of plot, a lot of them don't connect, but emotionally and thematically, they connect really well. And I always like that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Love Actually.
It's a solid movie. I mean, it's better than. I mean, I agree with you. I think Tampopo is better in that way.
I don't think Love Actually is terrible.
Love Actually is not like offensive.
No, but I don't think I could watch it every year.
Close. Yeah, if I never watch it again for the rest of my life, I would be perfectly fine.
I mean, I only watch it.
I've never even seen Love Actually.
Good, dude. You know what?
Family members are obsessed. So.
You're the best of all of us, dude. Your soul is pure, dude.
Like the famous scene where the guy is like in love with the guy with
Keira Knightley's
Keira Knightley and like goes up to her
That's a shitty vignette though. That one's not even that good.
But that's the most famous of the vignettes out of Love Actually.
People
to the point
do that
where
all
it was
the time
meme.
in real life. They're like, "Oh, I love you,"
and I'm like, "This is actually awful. I don't like this.
Look at my cue card.
I don't like
stupid.
this. I don't like this at all.
That was corny.
But that's one of the defining story.
But the other
from
vignettes
Love
are good, like the one with Emma Thompson. So
you know who needs to make a Christmas movie?
And The Office Girl too.
John Woo. Oh, wait a minute. He did make it. It's coming out this year. It's gonna be beautiful.
All right.
I need to watch a trailer for that.
It looks amazing, dude.
It's called Silent Night, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it with is it a fucking
Chow Yun-Fat?
Yeah. Is it a tequila movie? Okay.
No, it's with the guy that was in the RoboCop remake.
Oh, okay. All right, he's fine. Yeah.
But he doesn't talk the whole movie. That's what it's called.
That's good.
Night.
It's good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because the RoboCop excelled when he stopped talking.
He is gonna let the guns do the talking. If you know
Excellent.
what I mean.
Excellent. I would love
So
a
it's
tequila.
gonna be like Dredd.
Hopefully, dude.
But Dredd talked a lot, actually.
Yeah.
And it's just that you didn't see his eyes. So
yeah. You couldn't tell where he was looking when he took him off the cross-eyed outside.
Dredd talked less than Stallone Judge Dredd.
Yes. Well,
yeah, but
Stallone Judge Dredd had many other issues.
Yeah.
I was falsified.
I am the law. I love to hate watch the old Judge Dredd.
I do. It's one of my like favorite bad watches.
Yeah.
Like when he shows up, he goes, "I am the law.
Yeah.
To stop shooting, or I will shoot you."
And then they make fun of him in the same movie.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the movie kind of knows it's bad, but refuses to follow up on it. Probably because Sylvester Stallone refused to not take it seriously or to have
fun. He wasn't having fun, dude. Another fucking Aaron Paul moment, dude. You gotta listen up, baby. You gotta listen up, baby.
Listen up.
But
we listen up them shoulders.
We can wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up, dude.
That was sort of
talking.
Yeah,
Too much talking today.
We talked about Breaking Bad and many other things this episode of Would You Stay Tuned? If you want to see other stuff we do, you can head on over to fugitiveframes.com. We have links to all the stuff we do, including Newbie Star Trek, which is maybe where you came from. But if you didn't,
congratulations, you can go there.
Yeah, check out.
If you like Star Trek, if you don't go there.
Actually, I was about to say, we're actually getting a ton of comments these days on our YouTube where people go, like, I don't really like Star Trek.
Racial names?
Well, that's been since day one.
We're getting a lot of racial slurs.
Yeah. We've had racial slurs since day one. Especially when the funniest is when they don't know that we're all not white and they just call us white slurs. So that's extra
really
fun. Yes.
That's
they're
awesome,
like, you white people are so offensive.
Yeah, you say dude a lot, my man.
So that I find that the funniest.
You surfer bastard.
But
you
then
white surfer bastard.
But my favorite comment is, if you don't like it, don't watch.
But I think
it comes up every so often.
Same guy?
No,
another comment. Our other podcast, by the way, is called Newbie Star Trek.
We have to cut this out.
It's called Newbie Star Trek, by the way, and we get a lot of feedback about people who are like, well, "How did you not know that? Come on!"
Constructive criticism, dude. Come on.
It's called Newbie Star Trek.
Well, what I was going to say is that one of my favorite comments we're getting now is that people go, the algorithm keeps showing me your thing. I don't watch Star Trek, but it kept showing me. So I started watching Star Trek or started watching your podcast. I was like, oh, this is funny. Now I want to watch Star Trek. So I'm kind of,
funny.
That's kind of what I secretly hoped for the whole time. is that we start
I
drawing
haven't
in
seen
people.
enough comments like that. I need to find those.
They're also newbies, and we're making them start their own newbie journey.
Dan's like, I've only seen the racist ones.
I mean, to be fair, those are very common. It's hard to miss them sometimes. But
if you put up content pertaining to race.
But yeah, that's all. You could just go to fugitiveframes.com. It'll have links to all of that. And we'll be back one day with another episode. Which stay tuned. We don't know yet because we just record these whenever. So
yeah, you stay tuned until then.
You stay tuned
if you would.
Would you stay tuned until next episode?
Don't answer that. Don't
Leave us a review. Leave us a review though.
Yeah,
don't leave us a review. Don't. I say don't because then it's reverse psychology.
All right, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
If you leave us a review, we'll kill you.
For every review you leave, we will kill you. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.